In this video, I will prepare seasoned chicken cutlets with a tasty and colorful sun-dried tomato topping. Hi, and welcome to the channel, where I will be cooking good food as well as counting carbohydrates. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm a type 1 diabetic. Those of us with type 1 diabetes can eat everything without restriction, so I will be preparing a wide variety of normal, tasty food, and then showing you how to count carbs to determine insulin requirements for the dish. So please stick around until the end, because after cooking the dish, we'll sit down and rock and bolus, and of course, count carbs. The ingredients are chicken cutlets, which I will season with garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, salt, and pepper, an onion, carrots, garlic, spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, white wine, heavy cream, chicken broth, and Parmesan cheese. I've already peeled a large onion and I've quartered it, and I'm just going to dice it up into tiny little pieces. I'm taking some carrot slices and I'm going to stack them up, and then I just thinly slice through them and end up with some matchstick carrots. So I'm going to begin slicing the garlic, and I have this separated into individual cloves, and I'm going to take my broad knife and I'm going to just smash it, and then that easily separates it from the skin. I have my skin separated from the actual cloves, and I'm going to load them into my handheld mandolin. And then you just press down carefully your fingers and slice away. And I'm going to season the chicken first with garlic powder, then with onion powder, then with Italian seasoning, pepper, and salt. And this I do salt. Flip over and repeat on the other side. So I've already put about a tablespoon of oil into my pan, and it's heated up, and I'm going to start layering these in. And I'm only going to do 2 at a time, just because the pan's not big enough to do all 4. Turn your heat down to about a medium high, and these are very thin, so they're going to cook through in about 3 minutes. Put a lid on. I'm going to flip these over. Smells really good in here. To make the cream sauce, I'm going to turn my heat back on, and into the same pan that I just cooked the chicken, I'm going to begin adding my vegetables. I just tossed in a piece of onion so that I could tell when my oil has heated up and it starts to sizzle, and now it's ready to start dumping in vegetables. Onions, carrots, and the garlic cloves. Turn the heat down to a medium high. Mix everything in. After the onions and carrots have cooked down and softened, you're going to add a bowl of spinach, fresh spinach, and carefully stir that in. A package of sun-dried tomatoes. And then mix those in, keep stirring. I'm going to add a small bottle of white wine and pour it in. And you want to let the alcohol in the wine evaporate off. Add the chicken broth. And you can also add the cream too. Give it a good stir. This would be a good time to season, and I've already tasted. Tastes pretty good, but I'm going to add in a little bit of pepper. Season to taste. You could add some salt at this point in time, but you don't need it. You won't really miss it in this dish. And after you do that, we're going to add in some Parmesan cheese. And turn your heat down because you don't want that cream to really boil too hard. Stir it in. And let it sort of melt and heat up. I think we're good here. Now that everything has been cooked, put the chicken on a plate. Add the cream sauce over the chicken. I'm serving the chicken with some rosemary sourdough bread. Before I begin the actual carb count, let me just say that I am not a medical professional. I am just someone who wears their pancreas in their pocket. And I also happen to have years of living with type 1 diabetes. If you do have a medical question, please consult your diabetic care team. Let's count the carbs for the chicken with sun-dried tomato topping. There is going to be some math involved, but don't worry, it's not that hard. And you will need to calculate the carbs per serving, and this recipe made 4 servings. So the chicken had 0 grams of carbohydrates, and the seasoning that I used with that had none, and that was garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, and salt and pepper. The quarter of an onion that I used, 1 gram. The matchstick carrots, 7 grams. The garlic, 1.5 grams. The sun-dried tomatoes had 13 grams. The white wine had 1 gram. The cream had 5 grams. And the chicken broth, 0 grams. Parmesan cheese, 0 grams. And the spinach also had 0 grams. And if you add that column up, you come up with 28.5 grams of carbohydrates for that dish. And then I added in a slice of bread, and that was an added 34 grams of carbohydrates. You add those two numbers, 28.5 plus 34, and that came out to 62.5 grams of carbohydrates for this plated meal. Once you have your final carbohydrate count for your serving, you will need to divide this number by your carb ratio number. For instance, if I use my carb ratio of 1 to 15, 62.5 divided by 15 is equal to 4.2 units of insulin needed to keep my blood sugar within a normal range. So happy carb counting, and remember, my fellow type 1s, counting carbs so our pancreas doesn't have to, one meal at a time.